We are going to talk for a few minutes here about a formula that pretty much governs everything when we're going to do something. All right. And here it is. You've heard it before. It's an old saying, but oh my gosh, how wise is this one when we get it right, and how wise we find out it is when we don't. And that is, here's the formula: ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim, fire. I remember when I was a kid growing up in Mississippi, and we do a lot of hunting down there where we go out and come home with something to eat. It might be a deer, it might be a duck, or whatever it is, or we might go fishing. Same thing, but particularly um, when I was learning how to hunt, my dad was an actually an expert marksman, awarded for that in a lot of different ways in his military service before he went into business. And he loved, 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 loved the sport of it all, and was really good at the firearms part of it. Okay, and so he started me young, and I learned something. He put me in training, and we went out there and learned what a prone position was, and learned how to do all of it. And what do you have to do? What's ready, aim, fire? Well, ready means asking the question, am I ready to do this? All right. Is my gun clean? You don't want to shoot a gun that's clogged up with a barrel. It's going to end up in your face. Do I have all the ammunition that I'm going to need? Do I have the right context? And just do I have the skills and the ability? Do I have a big enough gun for what I'm going after? Or have I overdone it? If you all you hunters out there, if you're going to shoot ducks, you don't want to use the same shot that you use to shoot a deer because you won't have anything left to eat. So we got to get ready. We got some planning before we do something. And then you got to sit down. You got to know what you're shooting at, right? You got to aim. We got to focus. You're not going to hit a target if you don't aim at the target. All right. And then once you're ready, once you're aimed, then you got to be able to pull the trigger. All right. A lot of people hunting, they freeze or they wait too long or they shoot too quickly. Right. So ready, aim, fire is a sequence. Now let's take that metaphor and let's just take a context. We had a call just yesterday, I think it was. A woman had gotten out of a relationship. I can't remember if it was a divorce or a breakup, um, but it works in both ways. And entered into a new one. Okay. But what she found was she didn't do ready, aim, fire. She did fire, ready, aim. In other words, she hopped into one kind of on the rebound, right? Of course, you want another relationship. I mean, I can understand that. But she just jumped into one and she did not get ready. She didn't get ready. She didn't look at and prepare herself and find out, am I up for this? Have I gotten rid of the woundedness? Have I looked at my patterns and started to, work out the patterns that my people picker was broken in? Have I done the work? That's part of the divorce recovery workshop that we did, is really, really getting ready before you jump into another one. A lot of times you see this in business. Somebody will get an idea, they'll take their life savings and, oh, I want to buy a coffee shop. But they're really not ready. They haven't learned the skills. They don't have a business plan. They don't know how they're going to allocate resources over time. Are they going to run out of cash? Do they have the talent developed? Do they have the team around them? We got to get ready, right? You're going to have a party. What do? You got to get ready. You got to get the food. Anything in life, we got to get ready before we do it. Are you ready to jump into or to pull off what you're going to do? You get in the car. Do you have fuel? It's a good thing to think about. Ready. All right, now we're ready. All right, now what's my target here? Take the dating example. She jumped into it. Well, what was she aiming at? Well, she got pretty much what she ended up shooting at, which was somebody that was really below the bar of requirement of what a good relationship would be like. She didn't really think about, what do I want? What am I aiming for? What's the kind of person I want to get into a relationship? There's no aim. It's just go out there and just, kind of whatever gets dragged across the transom or whatever shows up. Or, there's you gotta know what's the target. Reminds me, the example I always use is remember in Alice in Wonderland, and she comes to the fork in the road, and the Cheshire Cat is sitting there, and she's got to go right or left, and she says, "Which way do I go?" And the cat looks at her and goes, "Well, where are you trying to get to?" She goes, "I don't know." And he says, "Well, I guess it really doesn't matter then, does it? You can go either way if you don't know where you're going, but you're going to end up where you go." So it might be a good idea, before we know what we're going to do, to figure out, what am I aiming at? What am I aiming at? What's my target? What's my vision? What's my goal? Because that's going to get you in touch with one of the most strategic words that you can ever have in what we call executive functioning, able to pull something off. And that is the word no, right? Because no basically shows up when something comes along. You know where you're going. You go, "No, that's not what I want. No, that's going to get me off track. No, that's not the kind of person. No, that's not what this business is going to do. No, we're not going to offer used cars in our coffee shop, even though there's a great deal on used cars this week." We know where we're going. We got aim, right? We're focusing. And that helps me to know what to say no to. I'm not going to shoot at that. Back when we were deer hunting, there's doe season and buck season. Deer comes along and doesn't have any doesn't have any antlers, or they're too short. Well, you can't shoot that one, right? You got to say no to that one. You got to wait until the prize comes along. Okay, you're duck hunting. You can't shoot at robins. That's not good. We got to know what we're aiming for. What's the target? You're developing a family or a relationship. What do we want this to look like? What am I going to aim for? Or what are we going to aim for? How do we want to interact that's going to make this work? And then once we've got all that, then it's time to actually pull the trigger, right? We got to jump into it. We got to dive into the pool. You got to get out of the boat. One of my favorite verses where, Jesus told him to come on out here. Well, Peter would have never made it if he hadn't gotten out of the boat. And that's scary, right? Taking the plunge. Some people are ready, 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 aim, but they're risk averse or anxiety averse. Every new step, every time we launch something, every time we start, in the metaphor, every time we pull the trigger, if we're overcome with fears of failure or performance anxiety or hesitation or indecisiveness or whatever, then we don't ever do it. Okay. One of my favorite verses, faith without works is dead. I can have all this intentionality, but if I don't step into action and just think about it and have a fantasy forever and ever and ever, it ain't never going to happen. So look at what you're doing, look at what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you have the competencies? Do you have the finances? Do you have the people around you you're going to need? Do you have the knowledge that it's going to take? Okay. Get ready. Now aim. Do we know what we're going for? And then fire. Let's go do it. All right. Don't get those out of sequence. Don't fire, ready, aim. Or don't aim, fire, ready. Oh, I forgot to bring gas. Ready, aim, fire. Think about that. Whatever you're launching, all right, you're going to do a plan of helping your kid develop in some area. Are we ready? Do we have the people? Maybe we need a tutor to do this. Maybe I need a counselor to help me do this. Well, let's aim. What are we actually trying to accomplish and what are we not? And let's stay focused and then let's do it. Okay. Ready, aim, fire.